Check it out, Casper!
Hey everyone, and thanks for tuning in. Casper here, and welcome to a future where the Phlog is no longer everywhere in every single round of Team Fortress 2 you play, because it recently got a nerf, and this time it's one which I believe has actually taken away its title of Overpowered. Now, I know what a lot of you will be saying, but Casper, the Phlog isn't that overpowered. Any half-decent player could counter it. And to you, I say, you're probably right. However, not everyone who plays this game is half decent, so while you personally might not struggle with it, there are going to be people out there who do struggle to counter it, and I'm sure you've played on a team who are getting wrecked by a Phlog pyro, even if you personally aren't. So anyway, the recent changes that were made to the Phlog are the following. Increase the damage required to fully boost from 225 up to 300, and also you no longer get full heal when you taunt and do the move. Now that first one, the amount of damage it takes to fully charge, I never really noticed much when I was playing with it. When you think about it, the 75 extra damage is only really half a player's health for most classes. 300 damage in total is basically a 2 kill streak, and that's not including any assists or other random damage that you deal during that time. You will see in the background clips here, I'm using the Scorch Shot quite a lot, and I'm building large amounts of Phlog boost here without ever really putting myself into any danger. So that nerf aside, the big nerf, other than the fact that you can't air blast with this weapon, which is the biggest weakness of it, the new weakness is now you do not get a full heal when you oomph taunt. So basically, if you've got 10 health, you pull out the Phlog and you do the oomph taunt. As soon as that passes, you got the crit, but you've still only got 10 health. One of the strengths of the Phlogs before this change was how it could be used as essentially a get out of free jail card or a panic button. You could play really badly and take tons of damage, but as long as you had the full oomph, you could just hit that panic button and you'd be full health again. If you think about it, when a medic deploys an uber charge on someone at 10 health, the 2 seconds or so it takes you to taunt, that uber charge will not have healed you as much as the Phlog taunt used to. And on top of that, a Phlogistinator player then gets X amount of seconds of crits afterwards. So in some senses, the previous Phlog was almost like having a brief moment of 2 different types of uber charge. That essentially resulted in a playstyle of jumping into a group of people, taking tons of damage but not enough to kill you, and then full healing in the middle of all these people, and then coming out in the middle of all these people with a crits. With the new Phlog, it's still possible to play in this way, but because you're so vulnerable just before you oomph, and you don't get that heal back, that is going to really reduce the amount of trolling behaviour you can get with the Phlogistinator. Overall, this is a massive step in the right direction, and I personally found myself much more fragile than with previous editions of the Phlog. Of course, this new weakness is almost completely negated by having a medic. In one of the gameplays here on Snowy Coast, I actually go on a 17 kill streak straight out of joining the server. And that's largely because I've got a medic with me a lot of the time. So that means that I can dive into crowds of people, either with overheal or with invulnerability, and therefore this new weakness of that vulnerable period no longer exists. So is the Phlog still overpowered, if you ever thought it was? In my opinion, no. However, I do believe it's a fundamentally stupid weapon. The recent nerf has taken away a big advantage of this weapon, its panic button type mechanic, which essentially rewarded you even if you were being sloppy. Regardless of this, I am personally against the concept of anything which can give a player constant criticals outside of a medic's uber charge. If you think about most other weapons which reward you with some sort of crits boost, they almost always only offer mini crits. Think about the Cleaner's Carbine or the Buff Banner. I don't understand why the Phlog was ever implemented so disproportionately to these other weapons. So despite its nerf, it still supports the low skill WM1 style of gameplay. So it will never really compete against a talented degreaser player who can reflect your projectiles every time or get a quick switch on you, but the Phlog user will still get the occasional well-positioned streak, which leaves you wondering, what the hell? He didn't do anything to deserve that. And then you can still proceed to call him a noob in the chat. Now, of course, that's just my personal experience and my personal opinion, and you may well think that the Phlog is still massively overpowered, or you might think it's massively underpowered. I'd welcome any civil discussion you might like to have about it. For more Team Fortress 2 gameplays, commentaries, and post-production, please feel free to subscribe and check out any of these other videos. Thanks, everyone.